And what up, Jeff fam? It's your boy, Coach Ed, and you're having another Jeff Ed. But before we get into the topic of today, go ahead and say what's up in the comments down below. Let me know you're here, and we can get to it. I got my computer screen right here. I'm going to be looking out to see who's in the building, who's watching me do my thing. Uh, be honest with you guys, it feels like I haven't done one of these in a while. I like bringing information up to you guys. I like being that guy. I feel like I haven't done this in a while, so I'm really looking forward to bringing you guys what for me was a really exciting topic to prepare. I'm talking about the 5 things you are not doing towards your health and fitness journey. 5 things. Well, there's a number of things that are important, but we're narrowing it down to just 5 main bullet points of things that you can do or things that you should stop doing to ramp up your own fitness journey and really escalate towards your goals. Can you believe the first quarter of 2021 is almost over? Like March is going away in a flash. It's almost my birthday, and that's exciting. My birthday is next week. So, but I always mark how fast the year is going, but how quickly my birthday seems to pop up. So, since my birthday's next week, I'm like, okay, the first quarter of 2021 is almost over. Meaning, if you are not already on the mission to get your goals accomplished this year, I do not know what you are waiting for because 2021 is quickly moving past us. Okay, got my laptop open here. If you're in the building, if you're watching this Jeff Ed, go ahead and swipe in. Let me know you're here. And if you have any questions at any point in time, pop those in the comments as well, and I will do my best to answer them. Okay, my internet is running super slow right now, so bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Give me 2 seconds here just to open this up. But yeah, I'm. You know how you're getting. You know how you know you're getting old. Like with my birthday coming up next week, I realized I'm starting to get older because I needed someone to remind me my birthday was coming up next week for one, and two, I don't have anything planned for it. Granted, with all this whole COVID time, it's hard to plan anything. But still, normally I'm excited for my birthday, and now I'm like, it's okay. I can stop aging now. I someone asked me the other day how old I was, and I was like, I have a few years experience at being 25. Candace, hi, welcome to the show. Nicole, hi. Nene, hope you're doing well. Always nice seeing you. Paula, hello. Sharon, hi. Bronwyn, nice seeing you again. Nancy Close, oh, I love seeing Nancy's comments. Nancy's always in the building. Esmarie, always here as usual. She's saying I am not old. I am old light. I am just young enough to enjoy all the benefits of youth, but just old enough to slowly feel those benefits slipping away from me. So it's a weird time. It's a weird time, but I am enjoying it. Sibyl here for the Edgar's A team. Represent. Welcome. Okay, if you're here, let me know. Keep popping them in the comments below. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk about what I'm here to talk about. So we're talking about 5 things to do to aid in your fitness journey. Number one of the most, I think, one of the most damaging mistakes one person can make in the pursuit of a legit, serious goal in health and fitness is going at it without a plan. So, number one is you're going at this without a plan. If you're trying to lose 1 or 2 kilos, then maybe you can afford to go at it without a plan. But if you're trying to make some real significant change and really boost where your body's at, you cannot do this without having a plan. A lot of people like to do intuitive eating. Now, intuitive eating means when you're hungry, you eat something. When you're not hungry, you don't. And that is a really good way to go about things, and it can work. But if you have over the years accumulated a excessive amount of body weight, you have packed on a couple kilos, it seems to suggest that your intuition probably sucks and should not be trusted until you have had some time to recalibrate it. So not having a plan around your own eating when you're trying to achieve a fitness goal can hold you back. So it's always a good idea to sort of have a plan of action for each and every day. Particularly, and a lot of people make the same mistakes about not having a plan, is Monday to Friday, they're on it, they're doing their sessions, they're eating healthy as they possibly can. Come the weekend, things go off the rails, it's family time, you want to relax a little bit, and the half plan you had in your head sort of goes out the window. That those kind of mistakes, although we do encourage living life, having 5.5 days on a plan and 1.5 days when you're off, you still want the 1.5 days to be sort of mapped out somewhat within control. So having an overarching plan for your week really helps give you something to hold yourself to, a measuring stick to measure what you're doing against. So letting it be completely intuitive often leads to, for lack of a better word, like yo-yo progress. Like some weeks are good, some weeks are bad. It's back and forth. So having a plan you can always refer back to, even if you don't follow the plan strictly 100%, but you having a measuring stick to measure what you're doing against is always a good idea. Mistake number two is you're trying to go at this alone. I know a lot of people who I've coached, who have come onto the one-on-one program, who have been clients of mine, are always like, I don't want to tell anyone I'm doing the Jeff one-on-one yet. No one in my family knows I'm doing Jeff. I want to keep this a secret until I start to get a amount of results, and then I'll tell everyone. Which, if you're feeling a little bit shy, cool, do you. But I often find that people who try and go at the solo, when in the beginning, when your motivation levels are super high, it's easy. It's easy to get out of bed in the morning to do a session when you're highly motivated. But after week one, after week two, after month three, when motivation has long since left the window, it helps to have someone who's going to hold you accountable. That person can be a coach, that person can be a friend, that person can be a spouse, but you need to get yourself a support system sheltered around you. You need to have people who are not going to be going through the same struggles you're going through at the same time you're going through them to sort of lean on. Going at any sort of big, hairy, audacious goal, whether it be in fitness or in life, you're going to need a support system to help carry you through it in the times where your own motivation is fleeting. So get a support system. You don't need to share all your goals with them. You don't need to share your timeline with them, but just to, hey, listen, I'm trying to lose a little bit, a couple kilos. If you ever see me eating a donut, question why the heck I'm eating a donut at that time. Hold me accountable. I need you to be a second line of defense for me. And if you have some genuine people in your life, they're going to be totally cool with that. So it's about just trying to get a support system around you. Do not go at this solo. Number three is you're not focusing on your recovery. A common mistake I often see is, and I've fallen into this trap also, is when you prioritize your exercise above all else. I need to get my HIIT session at 6 o'clock. I need to get my lit session at 6:30, and then I need to make sure I get a run before work. And you're heavily focused on your training, on your exercise, and not as focused on your recovery from that exercise. Now, how the human body works is exercise is a stimulus. It's your body receiving a signal that, hey, something in the environment is causing a stress towards us, and we need to respond to that stress appropriately to make sure that we do not get killed by the stimulus. If you have watched my Jeff Ed previously, I talked about how the human body works, and essentially your human body's main objective in life is to stay alive. Everything it does is in the interest of staying alive. So if you go through a tough workout where your muscles are challenged, your cardiovascular system is challenged, your body perceives that as a threat to its own survival and responds by building those systems up a little bit stronger than they were before. So your muscle system gets a little bit stronger because it broke down before. Your cardiovascular system gets more efficient because it was found to be insufficient last time. So you that's how you progress. That process of healing and getting better only happens during your recovery. It doesn't happen while you're training. Training is you testing your system. Recovery is when you actually are building your system back up. So if you're constantly testing your system by doing too many sessions throughout the day, too many sessions throughout the week, not prioritizing your nutrition, not prioritizing your sleep, not prioritizing your hydration, then you are impeding your body's ability to recover and actually improve, basically twirling around in circles. So you need to also focus as much on your recovery as you do your training. The two work hand in hand together to build you stronger, to build you better. Number 4 is you are not consistent. In anything you do with the human body, you need to do it consistently. Now, and like anecdotal, not anecdotal, but like a way you can think about this is the reason why we normally advise that you do active recovery on your rest days as opposed to total rest is because if you're training 5 days a week as hard as you can and you're resting 2 days a week, those two measly days a week, even though they seem small, if you're doing complete recovery, not doing any sort of movement, that is enough of a stimulus to your body that, oh, wait, maybe I don't need to dedicate as much resources to being fit, to being strong, to being optimally at peak performance, because we didn't get that stimulus today that we need to invest in these systems. So a complete day of rest where you do absolutely nothing can be detrimental to your own progress, because simply going, and again, and this is a counter to the point I made before, you don't want to overdo it, but simply active recovery like a walk or a flow class or something where your body is still moving, you're still getting your heart rate ever so slightly elevated without doing the same kind of stress to your body, gives the body a sort of like reassuring nudge that yes, it is important for us to be investing all this time and energy into making the body as efficient as possible. That consistent every day, I'm doing some kind of doing some kind of step in the right direction towards my goals consistently every day is what helps encourage the body to keep going at what it's doing. So as soon as you are inconsistent, let's say you're training really hard one week, the next week things fall off, life gets in the way, things are really busy at work, your spouse is working in a different city for the week, and thus you don't have as much time to focus on yourself. If you let those things completely derail your own progress in a week, you are slowing down your own progress. It's consistency is the key. Compliance is the science. When it comes to the human body, all it really cares about is how frequent is the signal to improve, change, and grow. How frequently am I getting that signal? If I'm only really getting it 5 times a month, then there's no real pressure to grow and improve. Thus, I'm not going to grow and improve. If I'm getting that signal 28 days out of 31, then there's a great amount of pressure to improve. There's a great amount of pressure to change. Your body has no choice but to go in the direction you want it to, because again, pressure and that stimulus is perceived as a threat to the human body, like, oh no, our own life is at jeopardy here. This dude is making me do push-ups and squats and making me do yoga and making me walk basically every single day. If I don't become very good at doing those activities, he is eventually going to kill me. And thus, I'm now going to invest resources, the resources you get from the food you eat. I'm now going to invest resources into making sure that my muscular system can handle it, my cardiovascular system can handle it. I'm not holding on to as much excess body fat because that's slowing me down in those activities. So I'm going to get rid of some of those. So the body perceives what you're doing consistently as a sort of stimulus, as a blueprint to how it should behave. You do X, you do A to the body, it responds with B. You stop doing A, it stops responding with B. I just tried to break down some really complicated biology science into a really good analogy. So I hope that clicks and makes sense. And then number 5 is you're not listening to your body. Advice I gave a client of mine that really stuck with him and resonated with him was you need to learn how to listen to your body when it is whispering before it needs to shout at you. So you need to start paying attention to all the tiny little cues and signs your body gives you that something is going on. Because more often than not, your body gives you warning signals, or if it's a good thing, gives you positive reinforcement when things are going really well. So let me give you an example. Let me give you a practical example that happened to me. So on Tuesday while trading, I tweaked my hip not quite badly, but like bad enough that I was in quite a bit of pain on Tuesday. I realized upon reflection that my ankle was bothering me the Sunday prior, and like a day or two prior to that, my knee was bothering me just a little bit, all on the same side. I should have taken those as signs and signals that, hey, listen, you have skipped a few of your flow sessions for the year or for the week. You know the nature of the activity you does tends to tighten that side because you did have an operation on your knee on that side. So my body was giving me subtle signals that, hey, listen, your ankle is a little bit in pain because you've been sitting and skipping your flow sessions. You should probably address that. I ignored it. Hey, listen, now your ankle is starting to affect your knee, and you know your knee is a problem for you that you shouldn't let go on for too long. So that started affecting me. And then before I knew it, I ignored those, and then I blew out my hip decently well. It's a lot better now. Thanks for your concern. But that was a sign for me that, oh, listen, like my body gave me a few niggling signs that I ignored, and then it shouted at me by telling me, okay, listen, I'm cutting your session short. I don't like what you're doing. Take care of. What ended up happening was actually my glute muscle, the muscle of my bum, that was the actual problem, and that was causing a chain or link. But my body needed me to investigate that. I ignored it, and then it yelled at me for it. So now I'm acutely aware to pay attention to my body again. So same thing with you. Your body is going to give you subtle warning signs, subtle signals when something is going not in the right direction, and also when things are going in the right direction. For instance, if you are consistent with your nutrition, you're consistent with your training, you're consistent to your plan, and you do that consistently for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and it results with you improving, dropping kilometers, kilograms on the scale, dropping centimeters. And as soon as you're not consistent, your progress halts. That's your body giving you a signal like, listen, I'm only going to give you the result if you put in the work. So you need to start learning how to be more I started this whole conversation by saying don't rely on intuition, but you need to learn how to recalibrate your own intuition by really learning what your body's telling you, how it's telling you, and what an appropriate response is. Right? Everyone's still here? Everyone still got me? Okay. Feel free to stop me at any time. Comments. I'm going to look at those right now. If you have any questions, pop them in on there. Nancy Close is saying that I do my flow every day, but I'm having glute pain and pain in the back of my ankle and on my left side. Well, you see, with stuff like that, it bears a little bit more investigation. 9 times out of 10, there is an underlying cause. Pain isn't always an indication of where the problem is, because the body tends to refer pain. So it isn't always like, okay, if my hip is hurting, that means something's wrong with my hip. Sometimes it's a little bit more nuanced than that. The body can be a little bit more tricky to understand. All depends on the severity of the pain. But for you, I would suggest just doing maybe more specific exercises for that side, maybe looking exactly around the glute, the quads, the hamstrings, the calves, really stretching all of those out. Also trying to pinpoint which movements seem to hurt it the most. You can do a little bit of investigating on your own, but don't be afraid to reach out to someone who's a professional in that field who can do a little bit more of a deep analysis into what's going wrong. But my first thing would be try and get to a massage therapist, try and get all that ironed out, which is what I did. I have a really good massage therapist here, a really good friend of mine. She's also a power lifter, so very strong hands. So she made me squeal like a little girl. So, but I know me fine. If a massage can fix it, then probably not too big a deal. But if a massage can't fix it, or then I definitely know I need to escalate this a little bit more and maybe get to a physio or a bio or something of the sort. Coach Ed, can you please do these sessions at least once a month? I find your information so valuable. Well, I think I do these at least once a month. I'm pretty sure. The members of Edgar's A team, my little one-on-one coaching group, they get the benefit of these tidbits every single day. I promise you though, if you get these too often, it loses its novelty factor, and I tend to get a little preachy when you hear me every single day. Candy's saying, lost it there. Scroll back. I need to listen to this every single morning, especially number 5, number 4, and number 3, and sometimes number 2. But I do have a plan. Well, I'm really glad that most of this is appealing to you, and I'm really glad you have a plan. 9 times out of 10, having a plan to measure yourself against solves most of these issues. So I find even for me, like I shared with you guys a while back that my goal was to get down to 110 kilos, and I peaked at about 111, super close. Got a little cocky, stopped adhering to my plan as well as I should have been, and it's been like 3 4 weeks later. I'm still hovering at 111. Sometimes plateaus happen for very good reasons, but I know in this particular case, it's because I've slacked off on what I need to be doing a little bit. So, but in order to realize I slacked off, I needed to go back to what was my plan originally? What was I meant to be doing? Have I been doing what I've been meant to be doing in the exact execution? And then you realize, even though I'm still eating healthy, and even though I'm still training when I'm meant to be training, it is not exactly how my plan described what I should be doing. And that 10% deviation for me and my body, because my body is stubborn as hell, I'm not allowed to deviate more than 10% before my body lets me know, listen, that's not going to work for us. Go back to what your plan says. So for me, my body does not let me get away with it. Some people hit the genetic lottery. Their bodies are a little bit more forgiving. Great for them. The vast majority of us, though, you need to be a little bit more on the nose about what our plans are. Renee is saying that my knees hurt with lunges, even though I make sure my knees don't go over my toes. Renee, there's a number of reasons why that could be the case. It could be improper mechanics in the lunge itself, because you need to also make sure that your knees are tracking in the same sort of line as about your second toe. You need to make sure that your hips and knees are in a good alignment. It could be a weakness either in your glutes or in your quads or your hamstrings, where one of them isn't producing enough force to keep your knee in perfect balance. So there's a number of things that could be wrong. But to narrow it down and simplify it, I would look to see if your quads aren't too tight. That is a typical problem when it comes to knee pain during lunges, specifically if it's only during lunges. They might just be your quads are too strong and too tight for the rest of the structures around the knee. So they're putting a little bit too much force in one particular place, and that's causing a little bit of pain. Think of it like an alignment in a car. You need everything to be pulling at equal measures and keeping everything in alignment. If one's pulling a little bit too tight, even if everything looks like it's in the right place, that can affect how things feel. So I would investigate that. Nancy's saying, yes, I know about referred pain. Graveless, can you perhaps send her to Durban? I'll let her know that the Durban crowd is looking for her services. Any more questions, guys? Feel free to pop them on the chat here. But yeah, so that's the basic. Those are 5 basic tidbits that you can look out for your own journey. I have 1,000 more. But I figured those were five really important ones. If you're getting those right, then nine times out of 10, everything else is going to sort of fall into place. But if I can leave you with a little bit more information, something you can take home and go away with is what you should do leaving this is get a piece of paper, get a pen, sit down, really think about what your goals are. So from where you are now to where you want to be, what does that look like? What are your goals? Is your goal for me, it's to finally lose this last kilo off my body. And then once you figure out what you want and what you want and why you want it, figure out, okay, what am I willing to do to get there and how long am I willing to do that for? So trying to figure out, is the squeeze worth the juice for you? I know for me, I want to get down to about 110. Ultimately, you want to get down to about 100. I have absolutely zero desire to ever get below that because at that point the squeeze is no longer worth the juice. But about 100 for my frame looks pretty good. So I now needed, this is what I did with myself beginning of the week, because I realized I had stalled due to my own lack of planning, my own not executing the plan. So it was, okay, first goal, I want to lose that 1 kilo. What am I willing to do? I'm willing to revert back to what my original plan is and was. How long am I willing to do that for? I'm willing to do that for the next 8 weeks. I gave myself, it's not going to take 8 weeks to lose a kilo, but I'm forcing myself to put in the effort, even over and above what I need to do to achieve the goal. Because if I say I'm willing to do that for 3 weeks, which is probably how long I need to lose that last kilo, after 3 weeks, I know me, I have the tendency to be like, I told myself I'd do this for 3 weeks. 3 weeks has come and gone. I am getting over this. So I tend to hold myself to an even higher standard than I need to get the job done, because I know from my own psychology, that's what I need. So I'm like, okay, you're committing yourself to 8 weeks on this current plan to get that goal. Cool. How are you going to plan your days day to day? Because I know for me, the biggest problem I have is not having a plan. And I'm not talking about the grand plan, it's not having a day to day plan. So on Monday morning, what are you eating? Tuesday, what are you eating? Wednesday morning, what are you eating? What are you having for lunch? What are you having for dinner? If you know you're not going to be home at that time, what is your plan A, B, and C to make sure you get a healthy meal? What store are you going to? What meal are you going to buy? Having a plan involves even the minutia, itty bitty little things in your day. It's never catch yourself in a situation where you don't have a plan in place. So now I know, okay, cool. Most of the week I'm at home. My fridge is about 10 meters that way. I have meal prepped everything so it can either be quickly reheated, or if it's dinner, it can be quickly defrosted and then eaten. I have everything sorted out. And then on Friday, I know I'm going off to a friend's little get together. He's having a birthday thing. I asked him, which restaurant are we going to? He let me know. I Googled the menu of that restaurant, and thankfully they had it on there. I already have that meal planned out. So I know Friday night I'm having exactly that. And in order to account for that meal, because it will probably have a little bit more fat and carbohydrates as part of the meal than I would normally have for that meal, I have appropriately adjusted what my breakfast and what my lunch will be leading up to that meal. So I know my Friday is going to be 100% on plan because I planned ahead, thought everything through. I also have a plan B in case he changes restaurants, because he likes doing that, but I know what the restaurant he would gravitate towards if he changed his mind. So I have a plan B for that too. So having a plan and thinking things through and having a plan B and a plan C, 9 times out of 10 solves most issues people are going to have. So if there's one of these points I mentioned today, and if you're only going to remember one of them, it's have a plan and stick to your plan. Everything else sort of follows that trend, falls into place. Okay, that's been Coach Ed. This has been the GIF Ed. Thanks you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. If you have any more questions, pop them in the comments down below, and I'll spend a little bit of time diving through and answering what I didn't get to during the show. Hope you guys have an awesome Thursday, and I'll see you guys real soon. Adios.